Hi everybody, Ale here, back to my channel for another podcast. This time around I have two special guests, Jayden and Ingrid. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Ingrid, do you want to maybe introduce yourself since it's the first time on the channel?
Yeah, I'm Ingrid. I'm Jayden's girlfriend. I'm from the Netherlands. And I am hoping to add something to this video.
I'm sure you do. And this video we're gonna talk about, is it safe to solo backpack around the world? Now, as always, I'll open it up with a big takeaway, which is yes, it is way safer than you think it is. So please don't make it the big hurdle for you to get going. Of course, there are tips that can help you make it a lot safer and small tips to avoid, tricky situations. Then, of course, it also depends on the locations you're gonna go to, but all of these suggestions can be applied pretty much everywhere. First one that comes to mind is don't bring, things that you are afraid of losing. You need to be confident that if something happens, you're okay with losing something. And of course, a passport is something that is painful to lose or be stolen, but you can replace by going to the embassy, right? An expensive laptop or Rolex watch, probably not, right? So you don't want to carry those type of things with you. It's not just in the nature of the type of travel that you're embarking on. Second thing is also literally when you're walking, don't be showy, don't bring too many things, don't hold your camera or phone outside of the pocket. Basic stuff, common sense, but please keep that in mind. Another idea, basic as it sounds, don't walk, for example, in dark alleys at night, because that will just increase the chances of being robbed or pickpocketed, something else. And then finally, I guess, if something were to happen, like if someone approaches you, maybe even at gunpoint, very unlikely, or with a knife, or even just being very aggressive, asking you for whatever you have in your pockets, ultimately hand that out, because all of your things, even your photos, which are for me the most important things that I've taken, you need to be, there's much more to lose if you are hurt or something and you make the person angry than just handing out things, and that's the end of it. So please keep this in mind. But yeah, Ingrid and Jayden, do you have any thoughts from your side? And especially Ingrid, being a woman yourself, I think you can give us some unique insights into that experience.
Yeah, if you don't mind me going first, I'll start. Yeah, so I remember when I first started going solo traveling, my dad lectured me. He's like, all these countries you're going to, they're so dangerous, like blah blah blah, there's all this crime. I'm like, yeah, but like back home it happens everywhere, like all these things can happen back home. So fortunately I haven't had any bad experiences from where the places I've traveled to. I felt pretty safe throughout all the countries that I traveled. So I can't comment too many experiences about that, but something that I do see that does happen is people getting way too drunk when they go partying. And it's like, especially when you're by yourself, like you meet a bunch of friends, but or you meet a bunch of people and like you spend a couple of days together, yeah, maybe you're friends, but like they're not like your friends back home. Like if your friends back home, they will literally put you in a wheelbarrow and like drag you home at the end of the night if you get too drunk. Whereas like when you're in another country and you just met these people, like they have no obligation to help you out. Like, yeah, like a good person would, but just watch your intake and like don't get too fucked up, basically, was what it's coming down to. Another thing that I do see, not so much related to safety, but you kind of touched on it, was petty theft. That happens quite often, actually. Like I've heard numerous accounts of people getting things stolen from. Yeah, for example, like in Vietnam, we had this lady, or one of these girls dropped their phone, and this lady came up to her and whispered in her ears, like, I have your phone, you gotta give me X amount of money to get your phone back. And she was like, I don't believe you. So she like pulls out the phone of like the other girl's phone. The girl just swiped it and then ran away because it was her property, and like you shouldn't be like stealing people's phones and then asking them for like a ransom. And then another example that Ingrid actually does is for scooter thefts, like someone ripping by with a scooter, they'll snatch your bag or like a satchel or like a fanny pack. So what Ingrid does is she tapes the
Connecting
yeah,
points.
the connectors so that they can't just easily click them and then take your bag away. And I've heard accounts of that happening quite frequently in Asia with like lots of scooters. It's very hectic. You're not paying attention. Your bag's like out towards like the street, and someone just comes by, snatches it, and they're gone into like the abyss of scooters and people. So that's something to watch out for. So yeah, just be vigilant and make sure you're not flashing your wallet or your phone, or you're leaving it on tables when you go to restaurants, because that's a very Westerner thing to do. You like eat dinner, you put your phone on the table. Yeah, just try to be smart with your things, and maybe even bring some locks for your bags, and make sure you use the hostel lockers. That's pretty common, and they'll help you keep all your things safe and orderly. As for Ingrid, your experiences were probably a lot different as a woman, so you can maybe go into some detail about that.
Yeah, I think we can say that as a woman you are more vulnerable. There's no point of saying you're not, because you are. So there's definitely differences in experience in that sense. And my major tip for that would be is get to know the culture, because the culture can make such a difference in how you experience things. For instance, if I compare two Asian countries, Thailand and Sri Lanka, in Thailand, if a guy would suddenly run into me accidentally, you would be like, oh, sorry, because for them it's literally bad karma for their family if they do something bad to you. So I felt more safe than at home in the Netherlands there, like female wise. But then in Sri Lanka, guys were staring at me, and it was a lot more intimidating in that sense. So get to know the culture and also know what you can do. If you see the local women wear long pants and those white trousers kind of thing, then you can expect that they will stare at you if you go in a miniskirt. So get to know the culture and adjust to it is my major tip for that. And also know what is normal in that culture. If guys staring is for them normal, then maybe you shouldn't be as intimidated by it. But at the same time, look at what you're wearing. I mean, if you're wearing a miniskirt and all the local women don't, then maybe it's about that, and maybe you can adjust it and see what happens then to get less of that. So just get to know the culture.
Yeah, no, and this is all, it's funny how when, it's not even funny, but I totally appreciate when you see people going through these experiences. There's many different angles to being safe or playing it safe, and I think after a while it's a fine balance to be found between feeling comfortable and not paying attention all the time to your belongings, or oh my god, what's gonna happen to my backpack back at the hostel, as well as not feeling too comfortable that you stop picking up the cues that, like Ingrid say, can happen by just looking around what other people do around you. So yeah, always keep an eye on your belongings, on your approach, and how people look at you, the way they behave. That's always helpful. Full disclosure, in about 2 years of actual full travel, I was almost robbed 4 times, and you can kind of argue a couple of them had to do with my actions. So I was a bit more showy, like I had my phone out on a scooter actually, which was pretty dangerous, or just walking around, so that's on me. And a couple of others were, for example, one in Ecuador and the other one in Brazil, in certain areas that I was told they would be more dangerous, and I tried to be mindful of that, and still something sort of happened, and in the end I got away with it. So again, going back to the initial tips, be mindful, hear from locals about the locations, try to take care of things, and if something were to happen, try to keep the cool, hand out your things. But again, the sort of bigger even takeaway is all of us, we've traveled, and we, I guess, wouldn't go back and say, oh, it's better if we hadn't traveled for this risk, right? We've not encountered those many risks, and the adventures that you go through, the memories you make, the friends you encounter are worth a lifetime of experiences. So go get out there. For any questions, let us know. There's a comment section. Subscribe to the channels, and we'll see you again soon. Ciao, ciao.